Hello, Michael.
Hello.
I'm so happy that you're here because I have so many questions to you.
Well, I am very excited to have you both here in the studio today. We have everything on the table. We're going to be talking about some exciting things here. So let's get started.
So, Michael, my big question is, where is the current trend and where we get in the future with professional cosmetics?
It's great. That's a really great question because, I get that a lot. We have a lot of conversations with our partners, with our distributors. Where is the industry going? What's the next big thing?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to note that, we don't want to chase trends, right? Trends have a tendency to come and go. That's why they're trends. But what is the direction? What is the future, right? And what are the things that we know that are current and prevalent on the market that are probably going to stay? So when I'm asked this question, one of the areas that I find most exciting currently is microbiome study, right? Microbiome health. And a lot of the launches for Circadia that we've had recently really help to support this idea that there's a growing level of awareness around, the importance of skin health as it comes to microbiome. So our pre and postbiotic nourishing mask, which has been a huge hit for our clients, the aquabiotic moisturizer. I mean, these are really helping to nourish healthy microbes that we find functioning on the skin. So I think that's big, and it's also evident when we look at some of the other brands on the market that have started to embrace this. Another thing that's really interesting when it comes to ingredient technology, because we spend so much time with our suppliers, is how many more circadian rhythm function ingredients have made their way onto the marketplace. So looking at ingredients that we utilize like the Synchrolife, we have B-circadian, we have chronocyclin. These are all ingredients that the manufacturers of the technology, they're marketing to skincare brands like ours and others. And it's really become a trend. Circadian rhythms has become a trend. It's been our concept now for nearly 25 years, but the idea of maintaining healthy balance of the genomic integrity of the skin, the DNA structures, specifically circadian genes, has become really, really big and very popular in the industry. So, the idea of us having to explain what circadian rhythms are, it's made our job much, much easier. So I think those are some of the two biggest ones that we see. If I'm going to round it out with a trio, I'm going to say sustainability. Sustainability has become huge. Where we're sourcing the ingredients, how these suppliers are developing their technology. A lot of it comes from natural, organic sources, but it's not about putting fruits and vegetables in jars anymore, right? Years ago, the organic movement was really, let's get these actual, edible fruits and vegetables inside a container. It's not about that. It's about how can we isolate the active molecules and metabolites that we find in the growing plants and get them to function within the skin, but also how can we deliver them to the skin as well? So sustainability and functionality kind of going hand in hand with that concept.
So Circadia is a trendsetter.
We are a trendsetter for sure. Absolutely. I would venture to say that we are definitely a trendsetter. We try to, set a great example for our professional partners. And I would say kind of the other arm of that question of technology is, not just ingredient technology, but how can we utilize technology in the industry, right? When we look at things like AI, how are we utilizing this to create better marketing campaigns? How can we utilize AI to help to better support the partners? There's a couple companies that I think are starting to lean into it, but, there's a lot of adaptations that we've already made for how we can utilize AI and the technological advancements that we have. I mean, even just looking at social media for bringing a higher level of awareness and visibility to the brands, we've really done a great job with that. So there's a lot of areas of improvement that we're looking to make. But again, all companies are trying to do that.
Yeah, of course. You talked about the chronopeptide.
Yes.
So the chronopeptide is one of the most selling boosters from hydrofacial, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit more about the chronopeptide booster.
Yeah, for sure.
And the ingredient, because we have it also in some products.
Yeah. Well, actually, chronocyclin was one of the first circadian rhythm ingredients that I heard of. And again, just to kind of preface this a little bit, I am very closely tied to the Society of Cosmetic Chemists, right? My grandfather insisted that I join almost immediately after I joined the company. And a lot of the insights and the knowledge and the education that we're having access to is coming from those ingredient suppliers. So the first time I heard about an ingredient supplier talking about circadian rhythms, I was blown away. I thought, oh my gosh, here's our concept. And now these ingredient suppliers are basing their newer technology on that. So when it was launched, it was really something that was going to help with vitamin D optimization, because when you look at all the vitamins that are available, no matter what, A, C, E, they absorb relatively easily into the skin, but vitamin D is different because most of the vitamin D that gets created in the skin comes from UV exposure, of course, but it's a systemic conversion. There's a lot more than just putting it on the skin and then it gets utilized. It has to be converted to a very specific way. So chronocyclin, which is the peptide, helps to do that by minimizing the sun exposure. So when we looked at how we're going to incorporate some of this new technology, the booster with Hydrofacial was kind of a no-brainer. I said, okay, this is the technology that we want to include into this formulation, and it's just been incredible. There's a lot of other technological advances, multi-weight hyaluronic acid, really cutting-edge antioxidant technology, but the hero of that booster is the chronocyclin peptide.
Yeah. So I am an esthetician too. So I am always checking.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah, of course.
So I was always checking retinol. Everybody talks about retinols.
Yes.
So now something new is on the market. It's called retinol.
Yeah.
So I'm always searching about new ingredients. Is this something new?
You know, it's funny. Retinol, it's not new to the industry. It's been around for a while. I think the deliverability of it as an ingredient has improved significantly in the last probably 10 years or so. But when you look at retinol, it's the aldehyde version of the vitamin, right? So you have retinol as the alcohol. The other forms are ester forms, but this is the form that gets utilized in the body specifically for vision. Right. So when you have vitamin A deficiencies for dietary intake, you have a potential night blindness. It throws off color schematic. You can't actually see the color purple specifically when you have this deficiency. So it's been around for a long time, but it's just gaining a little bit more notoriety because there's less of a conversion into retinoic acid. So it's being marketed as a little bit more of a gentle form of vitamin A, right? It's a little bit more gentle for the skin. I do find it a little bit problematic sometimes. I have worked with it. It's been a few years since I've even looked at it. But unfortunately, it has some stability issues and it also has some coloring issues. A lot of the color that you see, it ends up having this orangey kind of sticky look to it on the surface of the skin. So it's not my favorite to work with, but no doubt about it. It's definitely a good ingredient and it certainly has a place in the industry.
Thank you. So I'm an esthetician. I want to be always updated. Where should I update my knowledge?
Well, I mean, there's no better place than Circadia University to go for education, you know, and that's, you know, part of our mission now is to make sure that we have the education. It's a big part of our mission, a big part of our vision is to make sure that the education itself is accessible, right? We want to make sure that, you know, also one of our core values of inclusivity is that, you know, we have all levels of professionals. We have students that are just graduating from school. We have estheticians who have come into the industry in the last 2 years. We have veterans that have been practicing aesthetics from 10 to 20 years. So we want to make it as accessible as we possibly can. So everything from business courses, information, of course, on the product, non-product specific ingredient classes, certification on peels, acne specialists, aging specialists, pigmentation specialists. So we've really opened up the opportunities for education. So those are, if I'm my biased opinion, one of the best resources that's available, and we will continue to make that available. But there's a plethora of places for professionals that are just getting into the industry to go and learn as much as they possibly can. The great thing about education is you never know everything.
Yes,
right. There's always an opportunity to learn.
I will be ready, but no, I'd never be ready.
No, of course. I mean, and it shouldn't be that way. No one should be looking at it with the mindset of, okay, I know everything that there is to know. Now I can go out. You learn things along the way. Every day you're learning something new. And what's great about this level of education is you can parlay on the success that you've had and the things that you've already learned. And when the dots really start to come together, that's when your fundamental knowledge begins to improve.
So Circadia is trendy and Circadia is the future.
It's a current trend and we are the future. I could not have put it better myself.
So Michael, where do you see Circadia in 10 years?
That's a great question too. I mean, obviously we're having a moment, right? We're having a great level of visibility into the industry. There's a lot of international exposure. We've
65 countries.
Honestly, I've lost track. I mean, today we had everybody in, and we had literally someone from every single continent, with the exception of Antarctica, here in the studio today. So, the future of Circadia in 10 years, I see us continuing to grow. I see us really honing in on our message and drawing in professionals that are aligning with us, because I think the key again is alignment, right? Part of our core values is to make sure that anybody that's new, that's coming into the company, they're a cultural fit with who we are, right? And when you have that, then you have everybody kind of rowing and moving in the same direction. So that's really what we're focused on. And when we talk about the future, it's about continuing to build on the success that we've had and bringing people into the company, whether it's management, whether it's sales, marketing, new distribution, an area that we haven't explored yet. It's really aligning with those core values.
So, conclusion. Circadia's trendy, Circadia's the future, and you can't stop learning.
No, you never stop learning. In fact, anytime someone asks me to sign one of our books, I always put in there, never stop learning. And I have said this for quite some time, is that we have a very rich history and we have a very bright future.
Yes. And I love the history. This is amazing. I really love the history.
Thank you.
The future will be much better, I believe.
Yes.
That's what I think.
We continue to build on the successes that we have.
Absolutely. And I think the future is also the combination of energy-based devices and professional skincare.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because what I can see right now, all the energy-based device manufacturers, if they try to build their own skincare brand, they fail. Mm-hmm. Because they don't have the experience. They take it from somewhere, and after a while, they put it in the trash. And I get a lot of questions to that. They said to me, Karim, do you think can we collaborate? Do you have any specific products for RF needling, after laser, or after resurfacing, and all these things, And I think this is the future, because nobody really focus on these energy-based devices as a skincare brand. Do you think this is something what we can?
It poses a really interesting question, and obviously, collaboration with technology has been something that we've been doing for quite some time. Hydrofacial is a really good example of that. But then we do have other companies and brands that we work with that partners really well with what we're trying to achieve. It's all about getting the results that we're looking for. So absolutely, I see that as huge opportunity on the market, whether it is microneedling, whether it's radio frequency, whether it's post-care for more active, aggressive laser devices. It's something that we've really leaned into, and now we have companies coming to us on a regular basis saying, hey, we want to partner up. And I'm all for it. I'm definitely here for it.
So I think we have already a product like the hyaluronic acid, what we can use with microneedling.
OHI.
So that's great. I use it myself. And do you think we can count with some more products in this direction?
People are always ask me, what are the next products? What's coming next? We always kind of keep an eye on that vision of how can we collaborate. And there's a phrase that it's not mine, I borrowed it from somewhere, but collaboration is the new competition.
Absolutely.
Right? You have to look at where you can get complementary efforts, complementary products, complementary technology to work with what you already have that's existing. So we definitely keep it in mind when we're developing some of the new technology. And again, the Pro HA is a really good example of that. It's extremely versatile. It has very target specific things that we know that it can do, but it has very broad utilization.
Great.
So thank you, Michael.
Thank you,
That's
Michael.
a wrap up. That's it?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's it. Thank you.
I want to say thank you so much for coming. It's great to sit with you and chat with you all a little bit about what it is that we've been up to and where we see the industry going. So thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Michael.
Excited. Thank you.
Thank you.